Hey there, I'm John Siskovich, and I raise my chickens for meat out on grass, out on pasture, which is the real big difference in these chicken tractors. I want to have a video today about the tarps that I use on my chicken tractors, what thought goes into them, what size they are, what color they are, and how long they'll last you if you take care of them properly. So first off, what size they are. With these chicken tractors, the chicken tractors that I've designed, there's 2 feet on the bottom, 10 feet of pipe on the arch, and then 2 feet on the other side for a total of 14 feet. They're also 10 feet long. These tarps right here, I bought in 2013, and it's currently summer of 2017, and they're not going strong. They're starting to show some wear and tear in places where they've hit, snags in the wire. But all in all, they're still waterproof, they're still shedding water, they still protect the birds. So the system has worked out well for me over the long term with spending a little extra money on a durable tarp. So with these tarps, the original tarps that I used, the size that I chose was 8 feet by 12 feet. I chose 8 feet by 12 feet because it was a more standard size that I could find on the internet, and I had to buy 12 of them, so I bought a bulk case of tarps. And with that bulk case, I could only find that in certain standard sizes at the time. It is what it is, it was at the time. So with that 8 feet, it doesn't go quite the length of the chicken tractor, so I have some exposed area at the end. I've got that 2 feet that's not covered. And with it being 12 feet, the chicken tractor from bottom edge to bottom edge is 14 feet, so you can see I have some space here. Normally not a problem if it's July or if it's super hot, then you don't have an issue, but if you've got a lot of weather coming in from this side, it gives your chickens less of an area to get out of the weather. It also exposes them to more predators on the side or more sunlight if it's really, really hot. So the new tarps I used actually fit a little bit better, but they still have a flaw. So the new tarps that I found, and this was again just doing simple online Google searches, are 10 feet by 15 feet. Now if our ideal is 10 feet by 14 feet, you've got a little extra tarp to deal with. So in the front corner you can see it goes all the way down to the ground, covers the entire length of the chicken tractor, provides plenty of cover for the chickens, but there's still airflow, like both end walls are completely open, so you don't have to worry about the tarp going all the way down and blocking too much air, because there's breeze blowing right through this thing, but it protects the birds if there's bad weather, or foul weather. That one's for Scott. And on the other side, what I did, instead of 14 feet going to the bottom, I have a 15-foot tarp. I looped it back around on itself and just used the grommets. I put 2 grommets together here and 1 grommet on the bottom. That loop sits on the inside of the chicken tractor, and if you fasten it on both ends and you make sure it's a little nice and snug, then it won't fall out on you, and you've got your 10 by 14 size should you want it. Now going forward, I've done some more searching. Tarp companies maybe are catching on to the chicken tractor revolution. And I found 10 foot by 14 foot tarps. I'm not going to plug anybody because the custom sized tarps don't always tend to be the cheapest, but they are the most practical for this design. So if you're looking for the right tarp size for this chicken tractor, 10 by 14 feet, but the general takeaways are give them full coverage, have the air flow through the ends, but give them a place to get away from predators and get out of the weather. So now let's talk about the color of the tarps. I specifically chose white tarps, again, spending a little extra money to make sure the life of your bird is better, it has a better product for either you and your family and friends or your customers. So I went with the white tarps because they're reflective, and having the uniform tarps, it looks classy and good. There's like a clean feeling to having all nice white tarps out in the field. When you're dealing with poop and stuff and you're trying to convince people that raising and killing livestock is a good thing, classing it up a little bit helps your sales and marketing. I know that because I've had that exact customer feedback from people in the past. So for my money, worth the effort. Also with the white tarps, these are specifically UV resistant. Not just the fact that they reflect light, but the plastic that I got that they're made out of is marketed as UV resistant, so it resists fading, cracking, and just deteriorating in the sun over time. The brown tarps, if you wanted to use brown tarps, they usually come in a heavier duty gauge, that could get really hot in the summer, and then you have these little easy bake ovens going across the pasture. If you use the blue tarp, there's nothing wrong with that. They're a little cheaper. They tend to fall apart a little quicker, and they don't look quite as classy, but if that's not what you're going for, if you're doing this in your backyard, it doesn't matter. But for me, white tarps have been really good. So then lastly, let's talk about survivability of these tarps. Some of them I've had for 3, 4, 5 years now, and we've thrown a few out, but for the most part, a lot of them are hanging in there. And that's due to, I think, one main fact. We only use them in season when we need them. They're up all season, even between batches, but at the beginning of the year, we put the tarps on. At the end of the year, they're held on with zip ties. We cut all those plastic zip ties, roll up the tarp when it's dry and clean, and store them in a dry place in our livestock shed with all our other animal materials. And that, not having them in the extra parts of the year, throughout the winter, throughout any storms, so they're not rattling and pulling on the chicken wire, that saves, you know, the zip ties. Year to year, you refresh the zip ties that are getting a lot of action so they don't break on you. And the tarp, it's just less wear and tear, less time that it's out in the elements, so it'll last you a long time. So start with good quality tarp to begin with. How many times can I say tarp in one paragraph? Start with a good quality to begin with, and bring them in over the winter. A bag of zip ties, like 1,000 zip ties, is like $8 or $10 at the big box stores. So it's super cheap to add new zip ties than it is to have $10 to $12 a tarp over, you know, 5, 10, or 20 chicken tractors. So it's just where you want to spend your money, but for my money, saving the tarps, it's great. Great thing. I don't know how to end that part of the segment. We'll end there. If you're here at the end of the video and you've listened to me talk about tarps now for several minutes, you're probably interested in raising chickens. You're maybe even interested in building one of these chicken tractors yourself. I've made that very easy for you. I give you step-by-step instructions in my book, Stress-Free Chicken Tractor Plans. You can either find it on Amazon or head on over to farmmarketingsolutions.com for more information and your opportunity to buy. Support a farmer, grow your chickens, have a chicken tractor, love it, impress your family and friends, and until next time, I will see you out in the field. Next, we're going to talk about white tarps. Anyways, let's talk about... I made all that up. What'd you think?